What's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over the second part of my NBA X Factors for this upcoming season. But this time we're going to go over the Western Conference teams. If you haven't watched the Eastern Conference edition video that I dropped last week, most definitely tap into that and leave a like. Like before, these are players that I feel have to have a big season, and it is imperative that they do because their success will play a huge role for their team's overall success. With that being said, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Let's get right into the first player. Kristaps Porzingis. Look, KP in the regular season was a very good second option for the Mavs, but in the playoffs, we saw him turn into flight when it was crunch time. Putting up 20 a game on 47% shooting, then dropping to 13 points a game on 47% shooting, that's just a lack of aggression looking for your shot. But to be fair, all the blame can't be put on KP because he wasn't always put in the best position to be effective with the basketball. With a new coaching change, as Jason Kidd is the new head coach, Porzingis needs to keep up his same production throughout the year going into postseason basketball because the Mavs have missed his production in 2 playoff runs in the past 2 years. Look, Luka will be Luka, like we all know, but he needs his second option to be just as reliable to ease the load. Hopefully, KP can stay consistent throughout this entire new season. At the time of me recording this, Woj broke the news that the Nuggets just signed Michael Porter Jr. to a 5-year, $172 million deal that could rise up to $207 million.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Are you afraid that I'm gonna turn into some kind of criminal? Quit worrying about me, okay?
Mans just got paid. But seriously, MPJ is going to be the X factor for the Nuggets this season because he has the entire bag to be a problem in the NBA if all turns out well. He's already shown flashes of his offensive skill set and sits in good company as one of only 3 NBA players to shoot over 40% from 3 in the first 2 seasons. The other 2 are the Splash Brothers. Now, MPJ has to be a consistent producer offensively and his game will flourish. And I think many Nuggets fans can agree he has to be much more better defensively. But with Jamal Murray expected to miss most of the season, the Nuggets will need a reliable number 2 option to aid the reigning MVP in Nikola Jokic. This is the perfect opportunity for MPJ to take the next step and help the Nuggets perform well this upcoming season. For the Warriors, come on now, you know who it is.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Yes, Klay Thompson. Now, the Warriors medical staff has made it clear that Klay is most likely going to return between the end of December or the beginning of January next year. And yes, this is a longer than expected time to return, but Klay is a catalyst for what the Warriors will be able to do this year if he comes back healthy and is close to 100%. It's not just any shooter we're talking about. The gravity of having 2 of the best shooters on the court in Steph and Klay pushed the Warriors offense to new limits and allows everyone on the team to have much more space and freedom to score the basketball. If you don't respect the shooting touch of Klay, he can make you pay without having to put the ball on the floor. Of course, there'll be many questions lingering over Klay, if he can still shake off the rust and still keep up the same level of defense he is known for. But the Warriors with Klay Thompson back are a much deeper and scarier team to face, especially if Klay can return to his old ways. I can't wait, literally can't wait to see the Rockets make the playoffs, make it to the NBA Finals, and bring home that Larry O'Brien trophy.
What did you just say?
But until then, Kevin Porter Jr. is the X factor for my Rockets. With John Wall shut down until he's eventually traded, KPJ is the guy running the show, and this will be a big test to see if he has the capabilities to be a true point guard. Now, we know he can score the basketball, but he has to be more efficient and more consistent as a starting point guard. With the loads of talent on the Rockets, KPJ is only a part of what this season can be for the Rockets, but he most certainly will have the biggest impact in how well the Rockets can be this year. If KPJ can have a phenomenal season, don't be surprised if the Rockets can really shock some people this year. With Kawhi Leonard potentially out for most of this season, the Clippers are going to have to get their best effort from everyone on their team to make this season a success. What Reggie Jackson did last year in the postseason was phenomenal, and very much needed if the Clippers were going to make it to the conference finals, which they did. Reggie, with his great performance, earned him a new contract with the Clippers, and now he's going to have to carry a much bigger load for this team. Offensively, Reggie has improved his 3-point shot over the past few seasons and is still very aggressive at getting to the basket. Alongside Paul George, who expects to return to his 2019 MVP caliber days, Reggie's clearly the number 2 option, and with PG and the remaining of the Clippers roster healthy, Reggie has to fill in his role because if he can't, the Clippers will struggle and find it hard to compete in the Western Conference. But from what we saw last year from Reggie Jackson, we can expect him to have an improved season. Look, this is simple. The Lakers season will rest solely on the performance of Anthony Davis. Now, I said from the jump, I wanted to stay away from superstar players being X factors for their team, but this is my only objection. AD is a catalyst for the Lakers, and it all comes down to his health and performance this year. Look, LeBron in his 19th season will do what he always does, and Russell Westbrook is a workhorse on the court who wants to do everything possible to win. but Anthony Davis' impact is going to be so important in terms of defense because he has the ability to guard multiple positions and make it easier for his teammates to defend knowing he is on the court, and on offense because AD can attack you in multiple areas on the court from the low and high post or even off the dribble. If the Lakers want to win a championship, I personally believe AD has to be an MVP and Defensive Player of the Year conversation the entire year and remain healthy. It's a lot to expect, but this is Anthony Davis. And I think he'll have to have an impressive year if the Lakers want to win their 18th championship. For the Grizz, Jaren Jackson Jr. has the most to prove in this new season. The Grizzlies have been a contending fringe playoff team for the past 2 years, and if they want to keep up those expectations, Triple J is going to have to take a big leap this season. He's dealt with injuries that have kept him out of the lineup for the most part, but if the Grizzlies want to see any success and want to build their young core, they have to see what Triple J does this season. It's not like he can't ball. With Jonas Valanciunas no longer on the team, Jaren is going to have to be more aggressive and consistent on offense. If he performs well alongside Ja Morant, we could be looking at a future young duo in the Western Conference, and the Grizzlies' time may be coming. The Timberwolves have a big three in Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, and D'Angelo Russell. Now I'll say this, Cat isn't their X factor, but I expect Cat to have another great season, and it's important that he does because when you look at the other big men in his position, Bam Adebayo, DeAndre Ayton, Joel Embiid, Rudy Gobert, and even Nikola Jokic, they all have won league awards, all-star appearances, and made the NBA Finals over the last 2 seasons, while Cat has done neither. And this is primarily due to health and playing on a bad team, but I think he'll play good this season like he always does. D'Angelo Russell has been referenced in multiple trade packages, and many people think he has had massive drop-off in his production since his All-Star appearance in 2019. But D'Lo, in 2021, put up similar numbers on better efficiency compared to his sole All-Star season in 2019. So the mantle falls on Anthony Edwards, who I think, if he has an improved sophomore season, the Timberwolves will most certainly have enough to make the playoffs. And this is going to bank on Edwards, again, improving his efficiency and filling his role as a second or even third option for the Timberwolves this season. But from what we saw from Edwards last year, when Towns and D'Lo weren't in the lineup, we can very much believe that he has what it takes to get the job done. For the Pelicans, their X factor is Devontae Graham. Devontae last year had a completely down year compared to his 2020 season where he was averaging 17 points per game. Now, of course, with the arrival of LaMelo Ball, the Hornets really had no need to keep Devontae on their team, but on the Pelicans, he has a refresh start to return to his better playing days. But to do this, he'll have to most certainly increase his field goal percentage because shooting 37% isn't going to cut it at all if he's going to start for the Pelicans at point guard this year. He doesn't take a lot of threes, but have to up his efficiency in that area as well. If Devontae gets to the level of play that had the Hornets questioning if he could lead the team before LaMelo Ball arrived, the Pelicans will be a better team than expected by many critics. The Thunder are still clearly in rebuild mode, so a lot of players on this team still have question marks over them, and the front office has many tough decisions to make. But the only player that we can guarantee that is here to stay is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he will be the sole reason if the Thunder plan on having a better season than last year. SGA could very much be an all-star this year, depending on how the Thunder perform in the Western Conference standings, and if they do well, this may bring more time to consider coming to OKC to come pair up with SGA. Already a natural scorer and playmaker, putting up 23, 4, and 6 on 50% shooting from the field and 41% from 3 last year, I can very much see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having another career year in his 4th season, and by doing so, it could lead to more wins for the Thunder in 2021. For the Suns, their X factor is DeAndre Ayton. For his very first year of postseason action, DeAndre Ayton surprised a lot of fans and critics with his play on both sides of the ball. There were a lot of great moments in the Suns' deep playoff run that Ayton contributed to, but in this season, where the Suns are viewed as championship contenders, Ayton is going to have to take another step in his play to establish any hope of the Suns returning to the NBA Finals. A double-double machine in his first 3 seasons, and with another year with Chris Paul, the point guard, and perennial scorer Devin Booker, Ayton should increase his scoring from 14 points per game last season. Depending on how much Ayton performs, it may all make the difference in how far the Suns will go this year. Let's see what he has in store for us in this new season. If you watch my videos, then you know how I feel about the Blazers, but their X factor is Yusuf Nurkic. Look, we could talk about how the Blazers have been good enough to make the playoffs, and that's it for the past few years, but if they had quality pieces that performed in key moments, they'd be in a better situation. Yusuf Nurkic is that. Nurkic is a key component to this team. When you look back at how the Blazers performed without him, it puts a lot of stress on Dame and CJ to carry the entire team. For example, the Blazers made it to the conference finals without Nurkic in 2019 as he missed the entire postseason due to injury. And even in last year's playoffs, in every game the Blazers lost, except for Game 6, Nurkic fought out in every game. That's just not going to cut it, dude. We're talking about a nightly double-double that can give you more than just 11 points per game, which he's giving you. but 11 points isn't going to cut it. And if the Blazers front office is committing to keeping Dame happy, his secondary core players, like Nurkic, have to step their game up this season. Fully healthy, I expect Nurkic to have a much improved season than what we've seen as of late, which will lessen the backpacking of Dame, which he already has to do. Sacramento, I didn't forget about y'all. For the Kings, their X factor is Tyrese Halliburton. Now, I nearly went with Rashawn Holmes because I think ever since he's joined the Kings in 2019, he's been a very good addition to the roster. But Tyrese Halliburton has a much larger potential impact for the Kings this year. Tyrese wasn't Rookie of the Year last year, but best believe he was just as good in his own right compared to Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball. Tyrese has what many players lack early in their career: efficiency and consistency. Shooting over 40% from 3 and over 47% from the field, Tyrese can put the ball in the basket without having to dominate the rock as much, while coming off the bench for the most part of last year. And when you pair him up with De'Aaron Fox, I like the possibilities that could occur. The Kings could have their backcourt set in stone if Tyrese has another good season, and do I think they could make the playoffs? I won't go that far, but I think Tyrese's improvement will pay dividends for the future of the Sacramento Kings. We're at our final two teams, and for those of you that are still watching, thank you for showing love. But let's get back to the X Factors. And for the Spurs, their X Factor is DeJounte Murray. As a two-way guard, Murray put up 15 points with 7 rebounds and 5 assists on 45% shooting from the field. Now that may not be all-star numbers, but DeJounte also contributes on the defensive end and can be annoying for ball handlers to deal with. I really don't expect much from the Spurs this year because they're clearly rebuilding, but I am intrigued in what DeJounte can become if he has a good season. With DeMar DeRozan gone, the Spurs will need someone to step up, and I think Murray can take the mantle. And for our last team, the Utah Jazz, their X Factor is Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, Bojan has been phenomenal since joining the Jazz, and he's been one of the best three-point shooters in the league since he's been playing in Utah. So to say his play is the reason the Utah Jazz didn't make a deep playoff run is completely false. But what I think the Jazz have been lacking is the versatility of their offense. Yes, the Jazz are the best three-point shooting team, arguably ever, putting up the most threes as a team in NBA history. But on the wings, I think they rely on the three-point shot and shouldn't be the only thing they should utilize. Bojan is good at putting the ball in the hoop, and I'd like to see him utilized in different sets that allow him to utilize the three-point shot and even attack the rim when the opportunity presents itself. Doing this keeps the defense honest and creates more opportunities for Donovan Mitchell and even Jordan Clarkson to have much more offensive freedom, and if the Utah Jazz can do this, they can be a nightmare for a lot of teams to deal with. That concludes my X Factors for every Western Conference team in the NBA. Be sure to check out my Eastern Conference video on my channel, link is in the description. Leave a comment down below of who you think are the X Factors for your favorite team. Turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss my next video. Leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Like I said before, Road to 1K is coming soon, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until next time, stay on beat.